Hi there, and welcome to this intro to lower body CARS session. So today I'm going to take you through and coach you through CARS, or controlled articular rotations, for the pelvis, hips, knees, ankles, toes, and even the spine. So whether you're a total pro at CARS or you've never done them before or heard of them in your life, you're going to get something great out of this session. All right, I'm going to demonstrate the CARS for you, then I'll coach you through them. And our biggest rule as we go through is not pushing through pain. So as we do these CARS, as we do these large rotations, if you encounter pain or pinching in any particular area, what we want to do is just shorten up that circle, shorten up that rotation to keep you in a pain-free range of motion only. All right, this is all about empowering you and helping you learn about your body and how you can take care of it and improve its health and even strength over the long term. So to start off, all you need today is yourself. If you would like for a little extra help with balance when we do the hip CARS, you can have a pole or just a wall or something to hold on to. That will be helpful. And then optional, something to sit on when we do some of the knee and ankle stuff. All right, cool? Well, let's get started. So I'm going to demonstrate first. We're going to be standing. Okay, you don't have to do this yet, but you can if you'd like to. We're going to go slight bend in the knees, and I'm going to show you a little pelvic anterior and posterior tilt, it's called. Okay, so for the pelvis, we can move this a bunch of different ways. All right, it's this big thing here. And an anterior tilt is doing this. Posterior tilt is this. So if you imagine your pelvis being like a bowl, we're dumping out the front, we're trying to level it out and even try to dump out the back. If you lock out your knees, you're not going to get much movement from your pelvis. So we want a slight bend in the knees. And now you can try this out with me. I want you to try to tip your pelvis forward, then tip it back. So this is an anterior tilt, where your back arches too, and your belly kind of comes forward. Posterior tilt is where you contract these muscles here and bloop, like that. Okay, so imagine if you had a tail and you wanted to stick your tail up and back. Anterior tilt. If you wanted to tuck your tail between your legs, posterior tilt. So now I want you to practice. You can bring your hands on your shoulders. We're going to anteriorly tilt, posteriorly tilt, without moving the chest or shoulders. So being able to move your pelvis, manipulate its position independently of the upper body, is a really important skill. With any of these CARS today, we want to be able to isolate the joint we're working and move just that joint. All right, cool there. So now what I'm going to have you do is keep a little bit of bend in the knees if you'd like, and we're going to take our pelvis in a big circle. So feet are glued to the floor. We're going to stay long through our torso, and we're going to tip that pelvis, kick it back, over here, forward. So it's going in a big circle. So if I was above you looking down, what I would see is your pelvis moving in a big circle. All right, so if you're ready to join me, I'd like you to try. Super cool one to do in public, right? So just observe what you're feeling. As long as it's not painful, I want you to try to push your outermost range of motion. Feel those stretches. You're actively moving through this. You can switch directions now. So CARS are a way to improve our joint health, as well as a means of assessing. Ah, yes. All right, so this is a really good way to get the pelvis and all the tissues around it moving, get it some blood flow. Now we're going to move on to the hips. The hip CARS, if you do one thing per day, do a hip CAR, okay? That's the only movement you get. It's a big bang for your buck exercise. So hold on to something if you'd like here. I'm going to demonstrate first. This is external rotation of the hip. This is internal rotation of the hip. So your thigh internally rotates, externally rotates. So internal rotation is toward your body. External rotation is away, like so. It's not always easy to isolate. So then I'm going to have you now that you've seen that, bring your knee up a little bit, knee bent. Doesn't have to be all the way up. And we're going to internally rotate your hip and externally rotate. So when you internally rotate your hip, your ankle goes out. When you externally rotate, ankle goes in. I know it might not make a lot of sense if you're not used to this, but internal, external, internal, external. Okay? Now I'm going to demonstrate a full hip car for you, then I'll coach you through it. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Oh my gosh, so exciting. All right, pretty cool, right? Let me give you another view here. That's the basic idea, okay? And that being said, your hips are different from my hips. So it might look very different, but our intent is to go through our largest pain-free range of motion. So follow along with me, grab onto something if you can. I want you to externally rotate your hip. Boop. Bring your ankle and knee up across your body if you can. Knee goes high, prise out, internally rotate now, kick the ankle back and up, reach back behind you. Now, heel goes back, but not too far. Pull that knee and ankle up like you're going up and over a hurdle. Knee high, cross that knee and ankle in front of you and down. If that was really hard, totally cool. If you were moving all over the place, totally cool. As long as you weren't in pain and you didn't fall down, I'm super happy, okay? So now let's go for another one. Across, up, out, rotate, kicking that ankle back and up. Good. Focus on staying nice and tall. Drive the heel back, knee and ankle up, knee high, rotate, bring this across. Take a moment. All right, we're just going to go for one more, and I want you to focus this time on drawing a big circle with your knee. Sometimes the rotation can get a little confusing. Stay tall, draw a big circle with your knee. That's your focus here. Boom. There you go. All right, take some reps to get used to. Come across and down. All right, shake it out. If your opposite leg is getting a little fatigued, very, very normal because it's working on stabilizing. And if your body is moving all over the place and you just can't isolate that hip very well, that's totally normal, okay? We're working on first learning this, moving without pain through a large range, and over time, you're gonna hone it in. Perfection is not the goal. Got it? Okay. Other hips. So now what I want you to do is just practice external, internal rotation. External, internal. We can bring that knee up a little bit. This is external rotation. This is internal. Your hips may move a lot more or a lot less than mine, or similarly. Right now it's just about observing. We're not judging. Observe and see how your body feels with this. Shake it out a moment. All right, you've already seen the demonstration, so now we're going to do it together here. Other hip. Ready? Externally rotate. Bring that knee and ankle up and across. Pry out away from the belly button. Internally rotate. Reach back behind. Drive the heel back. Pry that knee and ankle up, knee high. Externally rotate as best you can. And down. Cool, right? Let me show you this angle. We'll do it again. Externally rotate. You're up. Knee and ankle high. Pry that knee and ankle away from your belly button, okay? Try not to turn your body. Internally rotate, kicking the ankle up. Whoo! Drive back, staying tall. Knee and ankle come up towards that armpit. Try to keep the ankle high as long as you can. Knee is up, across, down. All right, we're gonna do another one. If this is fatiguing for you too, if you're a little out of breath, it's also very normal. These are big muscles, and this might be a new novel thing for your body. Across, up, knee high, pry out, swing that hip open like a gate. Back. Think about, as we did with the other one, drawing a big circle with your knee. Across and down. All right, great work. So the hip cars Essentially, if you kind of get lost, just think about moving through a big range of motion without pain, okay? And you're still gonna be doing something wonderful for your hip, even if it's not as detail-oriented as what I just took you through, all right? So now, we get to do the knees. So if you have something to sit on, you can do that, or you can just sit on the floor, whatever is comfortable for you, all right? So for the knees, we're gonna focus first on rotation. Knee rotation is really essential to knee health, and it's one of the most challenging things for a lot of people. So with our left knee, we're going to pull the toes up. I have my knee bent about 90 degrees, and I'm gonna try to rotate my shin. How about that? See how my shin is turning externally, turning internally, external, internal. So I'd like you to try that with me here. So kneecap stays still, thigh stays still. None of this changes. But we're trying to rotate that shin. If you're not sure if it's moving, you can grab on, you can guide it with your hands. Yeah. What happens a lot of times initially is the ankle wants to move and foot wants to move instead of the shin. So flex that up, keep that in place. This is moving with the shin. This is moving with the shin, just like that. Okay, if you get the hang of it, then you can focus on the tissues that are working. Okay, here, as we rotate externally, these muscles are going to be contracting. Okay, pretty cool. It's not easy to make that connection right away though. As we rotate internally, these muscles and these muscles are going to be contracting. If you don't feel that right now, that's okay. Our primary goal here is to just get movement. So let's go ahead and switch and try that other knee. Rotate, rotate. One of the coolest things about this here is you can do it anywhere. While you're on the plane, public transportation, if you're driving and you have an automatic. I wouldn't do it with your right foot, okay? So same idea here. We want to keep the kneecap still, thigh still, and see if you can rotate that shin. With some of these cars, it can be a little bit frustrating initially, but as long as you have that intent to move it, your body will start to learn. Maybe it's not going to move right away. That's completely okay. But intending for that to happen, guiding it will help. There we are. Nice. All right. Are we feeling it yet? That's okay if not. If you notice that one shin rotates much more easily than the other, all right, that means the one that has more trouble, we want to spend more time on that one. That's exactly what I do with myself. My left knee is a little bit more tricky, so I just spend more time doing these. It doesn't have to be hard to be effective. Now we're going to do full knee cars, okay? So our knees also extend and flex. So when we're doing knee cars, we're going to go into flexion, then we're going to rotate externally, extend but not all the way, rotate internally, pull in. Then we can also do it the other way, internally rotate, extend, external, flex. Okay, so then I'll take you through it here, but I wanted to show you that first. So we don't rotate or extend all the way because then you can't rotate. So I want you extending maybe 70 to 80%. So I'll show you this angle. Ready? Cool. So externally rotate that shin like that. Extend about 80%. See if you can internally rotate from there. Flex all the way, squeeze. Externally rotate, extend, internally rotate, flex. You can hold your leg if you'd like. External, extend, internal, flex. Now we're going to reverse it. So you're rotating internally. Okay, you're going to extend. See if you can rotate externally. Pull in. Try not to let that thigh move. Internal, extend, external, flex. Ooh, if you get pops and stuff, totally cool as long as it doesn't hurt. Extend, rotate, pull in, relax. That's also not an easy one. If you're not used to this, if that rotation when you're flexing and extending is tough, then just go back to this and practice this for a while, and that might help. So then we get to do the other knee. All right, so we're going to do external, extend, internal, flex. External, extend, internal, flex. How does this feel compared to the other leg? Keep that in mind. Internal, flex. Let's go the other way. Internally rotate. Extend, externally rotate, flex in. Focus on using these tissues, these muscles, to make this happen. Up, externally rotate, pull. Anytime we're doing the cars, we want to be comparing sides. We want to be really tuning into what we feel. And you can relax here. Nice. Alrighty, so now we're going to do the ankle cars. This you can do standing, seated, on a chair, on the floor, wherever. We're going to go back to this left leg, and I'm going to have you either pull your knee up like this, or you can hook your left elbow under your knee like this. Find the elbow with your left hand. And what this does is this really locks this into place. If this is not something you want to do, you can just do this or kind of hold your leg up. All right? So now, shin doesn't move, ankle does. I'm going to show you. This is what our ankle car is going to look like. All right? Now I'll walk you through it. Shin doesn't move. Point your toes. Rotate in. Pull up as high as you can. Rotate outward. Point. Just like that. So imagine your big toe is a piece of chalk, and you're drawing a big, smooth circle. We're going to go nice and slow, and with each successive rep, we're trying to get just a little bit more range of motion, a little bit bigger circle. Go ahead and switch directions now. Every point of that circle, we're trying to plot a little bit further out than we did on the last rep. And plot as many points as possible. So if you have ankles that struggle with mobility or have had injuries, sometimes it can be a little bit choppy, and you might end up with a triangle or a hexagon instead of a circle. That's okay. We're just going to try to plot a few more points with each rep. Go ahead and relax there. If you noticed your shin moving a lot as you were trying to do that, again, that's okay. We're working on trying to dissociate that ankle from the shin though. So you can practice maybe holding your leg or shin in place, okay? And also just being kind to yourself, because this is not easy initially. Let's switch it up, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, right? Just like we did. And point, rotate in, pull up, rotate out. All right, as you're doing this, try to resist the urge to go fast. I see this a lot, and that's not bad. That's still joint movement, it's still great. You're not gonna get the same benefits though as going as slow as you can. We really want to own each position that our joint is capable of. So we want to spend a little bit of time there, teach our body, teach our nervous system that we are safe in these positions. And over time, it will strengthen us. It will give us access to more range of motion. Go ahead and switch directions here. Good. And it will reduce unwanted tension. The more feel-good, pain-free movement we get in big ranges of motion, the more our nervous system will trust us, and the tissues surrounding a healthier joint will not hold on to unnecessary tension. It's really pretty cool. It's very cool. Go ahead and relax that there. Okay, so that's the ankles. Now we're going to do the toes. And you can do this seated if you'd like, or you can do it standing, whatever you would prefer. I'm going to stand up, all right, just for fun. So for our toes, we want our feet to be flat, like so, just kind of normal standing. And I'm going to have us work on lifting our big toes only. All right, and down. Big toes and down. If you're not getting a lift, that's okay. We're going to intend to do it. When I first tried these, maybe 6 years ago, I was just staring at my big toes. They didn't move at all. It was humbling. It was very humbling. So what we want to try to do is not roll our feet out, keep them planted, and just lift those big toes as high as we can. It's really important to our health as humans who walk to have this functioning big toe that we can actively pull up, because as we walk, this happens. And if our toe does not flex very well, independently of the others, we're going to start to compensate. And that can actually lead to a whole host of foot and hip problems. So now, this one tends to be a little tougher. Big toes are going to stay down. We're going to lift our lateral 4 toes on each foot. So, boom. Okay? Just like that. You're going to try to maintain a little bit of an arch here and try not to let the feet and ankles cave inward. Okay, so you're going to try to lift and down. If this doesn't happen, that's okay. This is right now about intent. You're imagining it happening. You're connecting with those feet and toes. If you're able to do this pretty well, then you can try to lift and spread those toes out, and then even try to set them down one at a time. Meet yourself where you're at here, okay? If just moving the toes at all is a struggle, all right, then we just shift our expectations. And our goal is to just make subtle progress over time. Now what we're going to do is lift all our toes, okay? So we've got the balls of the feet down, the heels down, and we're going to lift all our toes, press just the big toes down and up. Big toes down and up. Let's get a couple of those in, and you might feel those arches fighting. So this is a nice way to go from the other end of it. So if lifting the lateral toes is tough, then we can lift all of them and try to press the big ones down. Now, lift them all. Lateral toes. Lateral toes. You can try to go one toe down at a time, starting with that little toe. Whew. And if you've never done this before, don't expect it to be perfect. Don't expect it to be easy. You might even find that your hands are trying to do that too. They're kind of sympathetic. They're moving with your toes. Relax there for a moment. Shake it out. Okay? Again, assessment. This is training your toes. It's also assessing. You kind of have an idea now of if this is going to be a priority for you. If your toes hardly move at all, or they feel really stiff, or one foot feels much more difficult than the other, then you know you have some opportunities for improvement. So now we're going to finish up with the spine. Cat-cows, they're wonderful. Where we're trying to move every segment of that spine individually. Now they do move with each other, but we're going to intend to move each one. So you're going to be hands and knees here. From this position, I want you to, with your shoulder blades, rather than pinching them together, press them away. And you're pressing away the whole time. Now, back to the very beginning, we're going to practice moving our pelvis. So I want you to untuck your pelvis, anteriorly tilt, okay, like you're arching your back, kicking that tail back and up, showing off that tail. Now I want you to posteriorly tilt, tucking the tail between your legs. Okay? Anterior tilt, posterior tilt. That's going to move the spine a little bit, and then we're going to go further. So we're extended here through your spine. I want you to droop as much as you can. Then we're going to slowly move into a C shape. So starting with your pelvis, slowly tuck that tail between your legs. Then I want you to imagine your low back starting to round. your mid-back starting to round. Upper back. Even tuck your chin. Now, undo it. So maintain this C shape and start with your pelvis again. Untuck. Kick that tail back and up. Droop through your low back, your mid back, your upper back. As much as you can. Make sure you're breathing, please. And we're going to go again. Tuck the tail between your legs. Slowly, imagine one vertebrae at a time moving up towards your head. I like to imagine like a xylophone that lights up, and I've got the little mallet, and I'm hitting one vertebrae at a time, and as I hit each one, it starts to move and curve. Now we're going again. Untuck, droop down, little by little, working towards that upper back, working towards that head and neck. We're going to go one more time each way. And I want you to focus here on this one, on where does it feel easy to move? Where does it feel hard to move or stiffer? Try to just tune into your spine, tune into your muscles. And you're going to droop down one more time, kicking that tail back and up. Slowly droop. Look up with the head and relax. So with the spine, as with some of the other joints like the knees or the toes, sometimes it's really hard to even feel what's going on there. And that's okay. Again, it comes down to intent. Practicing it, even if you're not feeling what you think you should be feeling, even if it's not doing what you want it to, that's going to still lead to progress over time. And one of my favorite things to do is actually film myself, and that way I can make a connection between what I feel and what's actually physically happening. And it just helps you connect a little bit more with yourself, and I've found that it speeds up progress. All right, so that's it for today. I hope this has helped you quite a lot. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining. And as always, don't forget to smile.